Yeah, hi, good evening. This is week number 11 of the Mad 1 course. So actually we are almost end of this course. I think you have seen the various weeks of this particular course with different outcomes. That is basic UI design. You have started with HTML, then followed by some kind of controlling part we do with mm, Flask framework and backend database. You have worked with some models we are creating with SQL Alchemy and SQLite tree. I think that's all about a quick overview, whatever you have learned so far in this particular course. Maybe possibly you might have some of them are doing parallelly, some have their project, or it might be you are going to register in the next term. That might be your choice of doing. Now we are entered into the week number 11. Today's focus is on that activity and practice questions, but it does not mean that we are answering that activity and practice questions while we are solving or before we are solving. We try to understand what is the background concept of it, why this is correct and why this is incorrect, and we'll discuss in that way. I think, is it okay? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Cool. Yeah, let me share my screen.
So, sir, these concepts are used in project or format to foundation. Like,
No, no. Can you repeat again?
sir, after week 7, these concepts are based for Met 2, or these are also used in project
No,
of.
no, no, no. Up to the week 7 only, the requirements of projects absolutely we can do up to the API of week 7. But week 8 onwards, whatever you are learning is more theoretical and more conceptual rather than hands-on. Like testing part is there, which you have learned in the last session, I think. That we don't use it in the MAD projects, right? Maybe it might be used after you complete your course. Maybe you go for internship. At that time, they might ask you any basic testing, you know that or not. That's it. Up to the week 7 only, that's it. And whatever you learned at week 7 API, that will be used in MAD2 project. We don't use that testing. We don't use that. Today you are learning beyond HTML. Beyond HTML is a more theoretical one. So, but there is a session on the week 12, which could be the Git basics. Maybe that could be used whenever you do the project where you do that remote repository. How do you handle? That's a different thing, right? But week 7 is pretty enough to do either
Yes.
app dev project or app dev 2 project. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's my screen is visible. Let's not going directly to this activity and practice questions of week 11. What we are going to learn today is that the week 11, which is that activity and practice questions. But what the week 11 is mainly focused on, it is beyond HTML. This is what the basic thing. So beyond HTML means we know the basics of HTML, but we want to try it out what is the history of HTML. Basically, how it is derived from various versions of this HTML. And one more thing is, along with this one, maybe we'll work it out little bit about components, where the front end components, back end components also there, front end components all there. Components means that every individual element or isolated unit on the user interface, that could be there. So these basic things only, these are more theoretical. This particular week is more theoretical. So we don't have any kind of hands-on things on the week 11, mostly theoretical. So when you are working with each question, you will understand. Basically, first it starts with the history of this particular, HTML, how it was started. Basically, this HTML initially it was started like a SGML, which is standard generalized markup language, which was the initial startup of HTML. Later, it is going for HTML different versions, right? You can see that HTML 2.0 and HTML uh, 3.0. So this one is okay. And HTML 4 is there. This is up to here. These are simply, hierarchically related. What you can say that hierarchically we are related. We have that one version, then extension version, then extension. Whenever you come to the HTML5, which is not, which is 5.0, I'm sorry, maybe it was, it looks like 500. I don't know how to do that. Yeah. So here, HTML 5.0, which is not belongs to that any of these derived things, because it is a self-complaints one. Self-complaints means some of the particular HTML tags are deprecated and some of the new tags are introduced. So it is not at all related to the HTML4. Some basic tags may be carried forward, but that's okay. But HTML4 is a self-compliant one. Sorry, HTML5, I'm sorry. So that's a basic history of this particular, HTML, how it is there. And along this HTML, you can find some metadata kind of markup language is there, that is called XML, extensible markup language, where it is exclusively the metadata. So metadata means mostly it looks like, your key and value pair or enclosed data. You can create your own user defined metadata you can write. Along with XML, if you are included that HTML, you can write that XHTML, which is combination of, yeah, it could be, yeah, XHTML. It is combination of metadata and styling, both the things you can do. So this is what basically, how really the history of this HTML is. This is what basic introduction. I think hope you got it. So let me jump to the week number 11. This is the week number 11. See,
Sir, so
mm,
XML is in key value
yeah,
data
key
type,
value
right?
pair, and that too, it looks like a metadata. For example, if you are creating XML element, it looks like this. For example, you can create a city. This could be Hyderabad, and this is city. So you don't have any kind of city kind of element in HTML. This is the metadata. You can write your whatever, configuration files, any kind of properties which are required for your web page or your database. You can specify. So similar way, I can specify that a new element called age, which might be then 56. This is, so these kind of things are metadata, it is defined. So this is not a predefined tag like bold tag. It doesn't create a bold, right? If the combination of XML and HTML, we have a separate extension format called like that XHTML. I think you got it, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Yeah, cool. So now let's jump to that. Yeah, each question, don't worry that while I'm solving what I'm working now. Yeah, this is 11.1. As I said, it is beyond HTML. Basically, it starts with the beyond HTML. Which of the following statement is true about markup language? As you know that markup language is for only creating or highlighting the web pages to emphasize some particular elements in your text, like bold, italic. So that way you want to emphasize some documentation, some kind of running text, some kind of dynamic text. You want to highlight it. That only we are using markup language. It does not contain any looping structures and control structures, right? So you don't have if conditions, you don't have for loops, right? So that's the thing. You should understand markup language, how it is different from the programming language. Yeah. So a markup language is used to control the presentation of data. Yes, of course, it can be, because how it has to be appeared, that's decided by the markup language. HTML is a markup language. Yes, it's used for creating web pages. Yeah, absolutely it is. All markup languages are as powerful as programming language? No. Programming languages are meant for decision making, like a controlling you can do, like a for loop or if condition, some kind of a business logic you can write. but web pages of markup language is not like that. That's a different purpose, right? So JavaScript is not a markup language. It is again front end validation and verification you do. That means it contains iterations and all. So that I'm pretty sure that A and B is the right for markup language. What exactly then? Now the second one, as I said, SEML is the first version of that HTML. Which of the following statements is true about the SGML? The first one is that SGML stands for standardized markup, standard generalized markup. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's not standardized. Standard generalized markup language, not standardized global, right? So we are sure that it is not right. SGML is a meta language, correct? SGML, it works like XML only earlier. Why that SGML was developed is SGML was developed to create only the metadata, which you can set up that beginning and ending of enclosing of data with some kind of meta elements like what I shown you, that age and city, similar lines. But later in HTML versions are introduced, it came with the predefined elements called bold, italic. So we are sure that SGML is started with as a starting of the metadata kind of markup language only. It does not have predefined styles. And then SGML is a programming language, not at all. It is similar to your HTML, so it's not programming. HTML and XML markup language is based on SGML. Yeah, hierarchically, SGML is a top, and then it is derived to different kind of sub language. So I can say that next versions of HTML. So B and D is right answer. And now, as I said, again, I'm coming back to how really that self-complaints one or hierarchically they are related. Which of the following is true about that SGML complaint? Complaint means that hierarchically that's related. Yeah, true about it. Mm, okay, wait. I'm sure that. Okay, 2 is okay. Why the specify 2.1? I don't know. SGML from that uh, 2.0 and 4 also, I think it came. Just you can Google it hierarchically how the SGML is grown to HTML which version. I'm sure that it directly doesn't go for HTML to 4. Definitely there is. I think it should be that MSQ, but I don't know why they have specified it is mm, MCQ. These two are right answers actually. Maybe I don't know. Just you check it. Yeah. One more is which of the following is not based on SGML parsing rules? See, here it is independent or self-complaints one they are asking. These two are the 2.0 and 4. These two are derived from SGML, but this is a self-complaints one. So that not based on SGML is 5. That's sure already we have discussed about this. Yeah, that's okay. And now dash is based on XML and also referred as reformulation of HTML4. As I said, combined together of HTML and XML together is called XHTML. So this can be a pretty straightforward question. And now, yes, RSS. RSS feeds are primarily used to get the information about actually. Why do you use this particular RSS is the full form, if you can see that, I think it is rich site. Yeah, it's RSS is a rich site summary. This is the full form, rich site summary. What exactly this one is? It can be used for that. Uh, it could be, uh, I'm sure that it is rich site summary only. The purpose of this one is that it is for, for example, maybe you have the different updates from the different branches that has to be shown in the circulars of the portal, like, circulars. Circulars are a scrolling kind of element where that every update we are getting. We are getting every updates means that possibly you get the updates or news which you are frequently it is updating. So that data, what they will do is they will send in the format of this RSS format. This RSS format generally it contains a predefined elements. Maybe they will send it a metadata kind of thing. Metadata means the title of the circular, maybe something like this. This could be title and the date of the circular. This could be then the date of the circular, and then you have that the description of the circular. Maybe complete description of the circular where you have a multiple lines. So this entire one, it will be called as that RSS feed. So the same RSS feed has to be maintained for every circular. Like a branch office wants to update, a head office you wants to update it. So you get that updates from that, various kind of different users. Users means who are authorized users, it means that. But RSS feeds now nobody is using because now it is updated with a lot of API calls. They can use it for updating. Whenever a news has to be updated on the portal, they can send the API request and they'll update it. Pretty simple. I think you got the point, right? RSS feeds, right? Yes. Is it clear?
Can you give an example for this
Correct,
RSS
correct.
feed?
So just now I said, right? For example, you have a real-time scenario. Actually, now I think nobody's using RSS updates on the web page. For example, you have a head office where it is that they are maintaining a web portal, right? This web portal is there. They are trying to get the updates, right? This could be a news or a news is scrolling on the web portal. This news, there should be a standard format. That standard format is that RSS. For example, this head office is getting the updates from the various branch office. So branch office 1 is getting, branch office 2 is getting. So these people has to maintain the same kind of format. That format is RSS file they will send it. This RSS file it contains is that simply the metadata. What it contains? As I said, the metadata. Metadata just have shown the title of the circular, which you, this one, it is a title. Same thing, date of the circular. Same format has to be maintained by this branch office 1 and branch office 2 and branch office 3. These people will send this RSS files to head office. Head office simply it will extract the data between this metadata, whatever data is there. They will update the news on the web portal. This is earlier pattern of updating the web pages. Is it clear?
Okay, so somewhat consolidation, right?
Correct, correct. Same standard format everyone has to follow, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
But nowadays nobody is using RSS files. What simply is there is a API calls are there. This API endpoint is given to every branch office, right? So they will call this API and they will send that whatever news is there. So it's automatically hit that endpoint and JSON data is updated, database is updated. Database updates automatically scrolls on the web page. They need not use that any kind of RSS feed.
Got it, got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can Google it. Maybe .rss extension also there, but nobody is using now. Yeah. So here, maybe it could be why it is used is the purpose is it is primarily for latest updates on the web page. Latest update is mostly news, circulars, something like that. So for this only we are using the full form. As I said earlier, it could be rich site summary. Someone says is this is a common kind of thing. It is not encoding and but pretty sure that it is a .rss extension. That is sure. Yeah. This could be one interesting one. Oh, actually, most of your image files when you are rendering on the web page, we try to send PNG and JPG. But sometimes what we do is there should be some graphics we want to create. That graphics to be created using HTML elements. So we are using HTML elements to create SVG. So this SVG is simply it is rendered It's not a bitmap image. Make sure it is not a binary object. It is simply kind of text kind of file, which is like HTML only, but extension is .svg. So the advantage of this one is rendering a BMP or JPG file, it takes a lot of time, but rendering a simple graphic with HTML tags is very easy. Like even in the Professor Nitin has shown some kind of flag of a country you want to render it. Simply we can use HTML tags into SVG. So the full form of SVG only they asked it. They did not ask you what elements we use in SVG. So if you could see that it is, uh, yeah, it is not scalar. It is scalable, not a static, not a standard. It is definitely vector graphics, but it's going to be the scalable one. This is the right answer. This is not scalar. You can check it the full form. But SVG file is a simple HTML rendered elements where you can draw some kind of graphics, simple graphics. Rendering BMP files is a binary object, but rendering SVG file is HTML element. Because it's a faster HTML, always it has to be distributed on network bandwidth, so always it is required a fast rendering things, right? Yeah, I think you got it right. Whatever this 11.1 I discussed, right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's see this. So mostly these questions are most theoretical. As I said, it is most theoretical. I don't think. Yeah. Well,
So like in
hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
sir, in question 5, you
Hmm.
find it four. Sorry, four.
Huh.
You
This one, right?
you told there is two answers for this. I think this or for this.
Fourth one, is it right?
Huh.
Question number, see, these two are derived from SGML. When the
Okay.
SGML was invented, from that the versions are improved to HTML2, HTML3, and HTML4. But HTML5 is not derived from SGML, which is independent, self-compliant one.
Yes, sir.
So here they said which is not based on SGML is HTML5, right?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now it is 11.2. Actually, before directly going for this 11.2, JavaScript basic fundamental. Mostly, if you can look at your earlier JavaScript things, is I think only one particular thing you so far you have discussed is that about DOM, document object model, because most JS will be discussed in the AppDev 2 course. In AppDev 1 course is that completely backend, some small part of front end, but AppDev 2 course is completely front end. So this DOM, what it will tell you that document object model, your HTML document hierarchically, it is having various elements. For example, if you can see that HTML element, it looks like this. There is a title is there, title element is there. There is body is there. So inside the body, you might have the different elements again, like bold, italic, paragraph, div. All these are bold, italic, and paragraph. All these are. See here, each of this element, it has a one unique ID is there. Maybe your body is having ID. This one is having ID or name. So how to dynamically modify this one using the JS? So the JS, what it will do? The purpose of JS is dynamic uh, dynamic rendering of HTML elements, or dynamically we want to change some content of HTML. So that can be done by using JS. If through DOM only we are doing, how can we do that through DOM? As there is a generalized statement, it's called document dot get element by ID, get element by ID, or you can say that get element by name, get element by class. This is a common kind of thing we use it, right? So after getting this element, we try to modify this element, whatever element we got it, that element things we modify. So that is what Advantage of using DOM. DOM means document object model. Directly you can interact with any element. So using a simple JS, so that dynamically I can change the behavior of any element. So that things only you learned so far. The same thing DOM will be discussed in this 11.2. Based on it only the questions are that it's not more coded one. It is also theoretical. So let's go for the activity questions of 11.2. Yeah. See here. First, basically, what is a JS? As you know that, as I said, every particular element in the HTML, it is being identified using by DOM. So each element is considered as ID. ID means simply it is a objects, right? Each one is one component or object, what you can say. Simply it is object-based language, object-oriented or object-based. Someone says it's object-based, someone says it's object-oriented. Why it is object-oriented is, if element is identified, I can easily modify its title or inner text or whatever I wanted. If you identified a div, I can modify inner content of the div. So simply it is object oriented or object based. Both of them are same. Object based or object oriented kind of language. And now it's not at all low level language, because low level programming languages are mostly, if you could see that, there is assembly language. You can see that microprocessor language, assembly language, we write it, but it is not related to the low level. And it is definitely a high level language, because why do you say the high level languages? If you can see the statements of any programming, of course, from 1990s, whatever programs, of course, 1960s itself, first high level programming language was invented, that's COBOL. From that, most programming languages are high level language only. Why do you call the high level languages? The statement, it looks like your English and some combination of arithmetic and mathematical combination, so that every human being can understand it. If you can see that lower level language, that is only the machine can understand. So the JavaScript commands, if you can see the if, for loop, all these are, let and where, all these are, you can understand. It is simply English combination of some kind of arithmetic expressions are there. And low level language is assembly language. I can say that actually, this low level, I can see that it is a microprocessor language. I don't say it is pure assembly language. Microprocessor. Oh, just a minute. I'm just a little bit confused. Sorry. It's not right, right? Yeah, that's fine. Here is correct. Let me go back. This low level is mission language. This is correct. Mission level language, where it contains the zeros and ones, only the processor can understand. But this assembly language is called, which is called microprocessor language, where you have that assembly files are there, ASM compiler, some kind of compiler they'll use it. So it contains some kind of, you know, mnemonics are there, where you're using that some registers kind of coding you can do, where you can easily add operations, delete operations you can do. But this language, only the machine can understand. This particular assembly language, you can understand, but this is not high level language. So of course, that's out of the context now. Right now, the JS is these two things. It's object based and it's high level. Yeah, that's a good question. I think so. Yeah. Now, this is, as I said, why do you require the JS? As I said, JS is exclusively dynamically you want to update a particular behavior of a particular element. When that web page is rendered or rendering, I want to update a particular behavior of a particular things, right? So here, why do you need it, right? Adding an interactive behavior of the web page, yes. Interactive means whenever a mouse is moved to a particular component, I want to change the color. Yes, I can do that. For loading the content to the document, whenever needed, without loading entire pages, right? This is a very good example. What you can say is that commonly referred as AJAX, asynchronous JavaScript and XML. See, instead of loading entire web page, only some components of web page is loaded. which are required parts of it. See, look at here. For example, if you can see this particular Seek dashboard, if you can see that one, right now it's 11.2 I'm at now. If I click on it 11.3, only this part is reloaded. It doesn't reload entire web page. This is what the interesting thing. How it will be happened is it's help of this JS only. Yeah, that's fine. This is also correct. JavaScript allows us to add dynamic behavior and special effects. Of course, it looks like that, interactive behavior and changing that dynamic colors. This is the right answer. As I said, this is high level language. This is object based. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Now, uh, to embed the JavaScript into HTML document, which of the tags is used? That is script. Simple. Inside your head or maybe somewhere at end of your body, you can put your script. If you put it end of your body, that will be executed after rendering of HTML. If you put it inside your head of the web page, so maybe you can call it somewhere in the HTML. Yes. So which of the following keywords is used to define a function in JavaScript? If it is Python, it is a def keyword. If it is JS, definitely we require the function keyword, function and a function name of the function beside that. The core Java, see, actually the core JavaScript means it's a JavaScript only. It doesn't make that a different kind of JavaScript. It's a JavaScript. What I can say is a simple JavaScript. So it allows the developer, what's the purpose of it? Provides the functionality such of that creating, yeah, it is a dynamically creating HTML, CSS you can do with JavaScript. And then, so what else you can do? Collecting and manipulating video stream from the user webcam. Yeah, this is what the interesting one. For example, maybe end user is having a webcam. So where the webcam, it is taking a 4K kind of video, a 4K. So as you know that a 4K kind of video it is capturing means definitely it requires a huge file is created, maybe a bigger size of file. But that file, when I want to transmit through the network or into my database, it requires a lot of space. What I'll do, so before it is sending to the server, this particular JavaScript, what it will do is, this 4K video will be converted into something like, 720 pixel. So if it is reduced the resolution, simply it can easily send it through the available bandwidth. So that manipulation it can do, the JavaScript can do. The front end camera, which that is captured from the end user, it can reduce its resolution and make it compatible to the network. Yeah, this is good. This could be interesting option. Now, integrate third-party frameworks and libraries that you can apply to the HTML to accelerate the frameworks building of websites and applications. Yes. See, JavaScript alone is not so powerful. It will integrate with various front-end frameworks and back-end frameworks. If you can see the back-end frameworks of JS, you have Express.js is there. It works like our Flask and Django. The JavaScript is not only meant for front-end, it can do back-end operations also. And JavaScript, it can do that other extension of Vue framework is there, React framework is there, Angular framework is there. Yeah, these frameworks which will enhance your libraries, which are additional libraries provided, you can improve your application building. That you can do it. And the last one is directly access a local file system. No, JavaScript cannot open a file in the local system. So because if the particular JavaScript is able to open a local file system of your C drive, nobody can run the web pages on the browser. So because I'm opening my some particular web portal very easily without kind of fear, because the JavaScript available on the particular HTML file, it cannot open the C drive file or D drive file. Just simply it will render the web pages. So that's pretty sure. Yeah, it cannot do the fourth job. I think you got this 11.2. What successful and additional functionalities that the JS will do, right? Is it clear? Is it clear? Hello. Hello.
Yeah, it's clear, clear.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it is. But interesting questions are some few questions are very interesting one. Yeah. Now the custom element. See, as you know that we have a predefined elements are there. Predefined elements so far we know bold and italic such things. User can create the custom elements also. Mostly custom elements we create that with the help of XML and combination of HTML. That's way we do that generally when you want to create a user defined address element you want to create, yes, you can do with XML. And a fine graded XML with HTML combination we can do it. That's called custom element. And not only that, there is additional kind of bootstraps are there, which is, could be that existing CSS CDN components you can download and you can enhance that. So that's a really one. And jQuery things are there which can do that, a dynamic animations of your web page. So these are all some kind of custom libraries we can download and third-party libraries you can download and you can do that. So that's about 11.3. So let's go that where it is, how really it works, right? Yes. See, look at here. So the first one is that in the context of web components, as I said, just let me quickly go back to the web component, what really the web component is. If you could see that your Seek portal itself, it looks like this, right? This is your Seek portal. Maybe here, all of your modules are there. Maybe your landing modules, right? So here there is a title is there. Maybe it could be a title. Okay, this could be title. This is your whatever the content it is rendering right now. And this can be, there is a footer is there. Maybe it could be a footer. So these are all components, these components are called as, each one is an independent component. If you can see that module one is independent component, module two, week one, week two. So these are all independent components, but all the components are, all these are, these things, right? These things are called as component. This is a component, this is a component. So these components are reused. So reused means same components we use it for this app dev course, same component we use it for mm, Mag 2 course. But only thing is the data content is changed. So simply I can say that what really the component is, it's a combination of HTML elements and as well as the data. HTML elements means which color has to be displayed, which bold, radio button, all these are, along with some data also associated. Data why it is, dynamically which particular course content has to be displayed. That is called component. So yeah, that's it, right? So in the context of web component, which of the following aspects of HTML5 is used to keep styling the component separate from the rest of the page. Rest of the page means only the existing thing only modified. Remaining rest of the page it doesn't touch. How it is happening is using a shadow DOM. See, as I said, this is shadow DOM. So actual DOM is this. Shadow DOM is this. So the shadow DOM is a smaller memory space. In this, what it contains is only modified components are there. Modified components. So if it has a modified component, immediately that only it will send it to the actual DOM. So that using shadow DOM is a faster access. So directly if you are accessing that actual DOM, it has to render that entire web page. If shadow DOM is used or virtual DOM, some other says is that virtual DOM also there. So that virtual DOM or shadow DOM contains only modified content. So the modified content only it will update. Remaining parts of that actual DOM it doesn't touch. That's the advantage of shadow DOM. So that's the thing. The context of web components, which of the following HTML5 used to keep the styling of components separate from the rest of page? Rest of the page it doesn't touch, only the modified. That can be done with the help of the shadow DOM only. It is not custom elements. Custom elements means it's a user defined element. That's a different issue. And HTML templates is a different issue. HTML template means you create a HTML body and you want to reuse it in other pages. That's a different issue. This shadow DOM is interesting one, which is a smaller part and modified components only resided in the shadow DOM. So that's fantastic one. Someone says it's the virtual DOM also. Yeah. Now, yeah, the second one is that. So which of the following HTML5 elements are used to create that markup template? So you can see that the markup template is, see, whenever you have a, what you can say that, a common header and footer, which has to be maintained for all of the other pages. So how can I do that one? That we can do that with the help of the template and slot. Just you can quickly check your Google documentation or anything. These two, what it will do is a template is created, reused in many web pages. For example, if you can see that any of your Microsoft web page, all the template, it looks like a blue color background. The font style is common, right? So the header is common, the footer is common. So how can you repeat the same? Again, I don't want to build it the same. So I have that some kind of menu is there. The menu has to be maintained as it is. So that can be done with the help of these both, like template is required, slot is required. I can say that it's a both. Just you can check the elements of template and slot. It is not so practical one, just simply template and reuse the template. Now, yeah, again, the shadow DOM it came. Why the shadow DOM is then? That it is. What does the shadow DOM do in the context of web components? So that is, it's an API. Yes, of course, it's API used to create the custom elements. No, it doesn't create a custom elements. No, no. Now, it is an API, application program interface. Why can you say that application program interfaces? It interacts with the actual DOM. That's the reason, right? So it is an API used to keep styling of components are separate from the rest of the page. Yeah, that's already we know. Earlier itself we know that. Yes. It is used to write the markup templates. No. Shadow DOM is not at all just writing that markup template. It is automatically used like JS framework or Vue.js. If you are working, they are faster front-end frameworks. How they are very faster is with the help of virtual DOM or shadow DOM. That's the advantage of it. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, that's okay. The objects in HTML DOM are organized according to, see, already I've discussed this one, which is hierarchical structure. A top level document is there, below HTML body is there, title is there, all these are there. Inside the body, again, sub elements, like a parent child relationship, what you can say that hierarchically. Now, yeah, again, they are asking about that JavaScript statements. Choose that correct statements combination. The first statement is JavaScript can manipulate cookies using cookie property in the document object. Is it right? Cookie? Do you know cookie? What exactly is that?
Yes, sir.
What is that cookie?
Like it's a temporary storage for
Correct. A small information which will be stored in the browser area. A temporary piece of information which is available inside your browser, like the browser is having some cache memory. In that, it will put that cookie. Best example for cookie is when you are navigating between the previous and next web pages. The navigation can be done easily by using the cookie because previous history of web page is maintained. So that piece of information you can uh, do with JavaScript, because JavaScript can decide, uh, manipulate the cookie, read the cookie, store the cookie. Yes, you can do that. It can do that one. Yeah, this is a true statement. This is a true. Now, second statement we'll read. JavaScript can read, create, modify the daily, yes, cookie, apply on the current web page. Yeah, it can set the expiry date of the cookie also. So until that expiry time, it will be there. After expiry time, it will be dead. So I can say both statements are true. JavaScript only can do that storing of cookies and manipulating the cookies. Of course, both of them looks like same, but okay. Yes, both statements are correct. Yeah. So nothing tricky here, but all these are straightforward. Okay. Yeah. Now, now they are talking about frameworks. When they are talking about frameworks, they are backend frameworks are there, front-end frameworks are there. Everyone need not strong in all frameworks. Just you should know what are all backend frameworks, what are all front-end frameworks, right? Front-end. So if you can see that backend framework so far as per our app dev course, you're familiar with the Flask, and there are a lot of other frameworks are there, which is Django is there. This is also Python framework only. These two are Python based language. And then we have Express is there, Express JS, which is JS based, JavaScript based. And you have a Spring Boot is there, Java Spring Boot. This could be, Java based one. And somebody will use that Laravel, which is PHP based. These are all different backend frameworks, right? If it is front end, whenever you want to, I'm not sure that Laravel is backend or front end. Maybe somewhat it is a PHP kind of framework. Yeah. Now, front end frameworks are there where you will learn that Vue.js in the next coming of
Sir,
Mad.
what is PHP?
Yeah, it is hypertext preprocessing. This is one of the framework. This is PHP script is one other. This PHP script is used in Laravel. Okay, like JS is used for Express JS. Java language is used here, right? Here JS script is used. These two is using Python language, right? Who are familiar with PHP, they can do Laravel, right? Yeah, because some kind of standard language you must familiar before going into the web designing, right? That's based on because you are already learned foundation and diploma on Python, so that they introduced the AppDev 1 course on Flask, right? Is it clear? Yeah.
Sir, so PHP is a language.
Yeah, it is kind of web scripting, but I'm sure it is a web scripting. Whether front end or back end, I'm not sure. Okay, Laravel and these two are PHP related. I think it is a backend only. And this Laravel is based on the PHP. There is a front end, I think so. But just check it, right? Just Google it, you will get information. But this is a front end. Vue.js is a JavaScript based, and React is there, and we have Angular, AngularJS. These are all lot of front end frameworks. See, now the question is why this back end and front end is decoupled, separated. The reason is that whenever application is differentiated between that front end is a separate server and the back end is a separate server, so that the load of the balancing of the particular scalability of applications can be handled. So whenever number of requests are coming, the rendering job is done by the front end and processing of business logic is done by the back end. So that's the reason the web applications are decoupled to front end and back end. Why it is instead of making all of the things at single server. I think you got that why the frameworks is. Is it clear? Why the frameworks are there, right? Yeah. I think it's clear, right?
Sir, can you please repeat that part?
So why the particular application is developed in two parts, front end and back end? Because whenever that number of users are increasing and scalability of the application is done, like today is a 10,000 users, your application is improved and your business is improved, you will have suddenly 1 lakh users are there. All the load has to be handled by the single backend server or one server is difficult. So what they did, front end job is only rendering of web page. That means colors and front end behavior. And back end job is only checking the business logic and database. So responsibilities are shared between front end and back end. Is it clear? Two different servers. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's the reason. If it is decoupled application, the duties are going to be, they are definitely, separated, so that whenever it's separated, the load can be balanced. Yeah, with balanced load they can do. Yeah. You can say the decentralization. Yeah, that's okay. Fine. That makes sense, right? Yeah. Cool. So now they're talking about which of the following frameworks is used to create that JavaScript components. As I said, JavaScript front-end things we are making using some frameworks called React and Vue and Angular. Back-end things you want to make it means we use that Express.js. Right now they said JavaScript components. JavaScript components definitely React. Flask is based on that Python. Spring is based on that Java language. JavaScript framework is only this, because JS is used as a core language or standard language. Yeah, here, as I said, get element by ID, we use it to modify the content of any web element. See here, one element is created, that is paragraph. The ID of the paragraph is my ID. What is the ID of this paragraph? My ID. I want to change the content of this one. Initially, content is hi there is there. I want to modify it. How can you modify it? Get element by ID. Yes, you can. What is ID? Yes, my ID. Inner HTML. Yes, I can modify it. Yes, you can do that. Why the second one not possible? Because second one get element by class they are using. But right now, the paragraph element is not having class. It is having only ID. We cannot do the second one. Third one is there. My ID dot inner HTML. No. Because my ID, if you got it as an object, then you can change it. So that means if there is another line added for this prior to it, that ID, that particular line is my ID equal to document dot get element by ID, get element by ID, the ID of the particular paragraph they specify. Then what happens is this entire object is going to be instantiated here. Then I can do this one. If they want to do the two statements, they have to use it. So instead of writing two statements, they have written only one statement here. That is directly identify the element and change the inner HTML of it. Inner HTML means the content. This content will go off and this particular line is going to be updated dynamically. That is what that. So that the first one is the right answer. Now, yeah, which of them is not a framework? See, framework is different. Standard programming language is different. Framework is additional library. So programming language is just compiler is associated with your system, right? So jQuery is a framework which you have to download the jQuery. The JS files are there. You can library download it, mini or some kind of main you can download and you can do. .NET is a framework. These two are frameworks. .NET contains a lot of standard programming languages. You have that Visual Basic, we have a C Sharp, all these are. JavaScript is a standard programming language. It's not a framework. If you have a web browser, that's enough. Your particular JS works. We don't need that any kind of additional things, right? Vue is a framework. .NET is a framework. jQuery is a framework. Framework is other third-party libraries which supports to the actual language. Python is supported with Flask framework, Django framework. We have to do a pip installation and then Vue work it. Similar way, if you want to work with Vue component, you need to do some Vue libraries has to be installed with Node.js or something, right? Yeah, npm installation. Now, yeah, backend framework. As I discussed, front-end framework and backend framework. React is completely front-end. Angular is a front-end. Vue is a front-end. Express.js is a backend. The JavaScript programming language uses, they want to write a backend code just like routes we have written in the Flask. The same thing you can write in the JS also. That can be possible using Express.js framework. Yeah. Yeah, it's the last one. Fifth one. So read the following statements and choose the correct answer. The first one is that frameworks are structures with a particular context to help to create the web pages within the context. Yes, the context is very simple. So either back-end context or front-end context. Which context you are going? Yeah, the frameworks will help you. So similar way, which particular framework, maybe security frameworks are there, like, if you can go with authentication authorization libraries are there. They might help you. JWT, Flask login. These things are token-based authentication you can do. So that framework is meant for a particular context. So based on it only additional library. Yeah. So working with JS, JavaScript, an app developer should have a good command on the JavaScript framework. Yeah, that's true. If you want to be, uh, a good JavaScript developer, you are a good JavaScript developer, you only the script commands are not enough. You should familiar any of the front-end framework, any of them, any of the front-end frameworks. Once you're familiar, both of them, almost it is similar to that one only. So I can say that both of them are correct. Okay. Yeah, it's both of them are correct. Yeah, it looks like both of them correct, right? Because frameworks is meant for that. Okay, okay. That's what I said. It is this particular week 11 is no practical things are there, all theoretical. Oh, we are entered into the practice things. Okay, I think mostly we have done this part. Okay. Yeah, this might be combination practical practice questions means maybe combined of all together of 11.1 to 11.4 you might have to work with, right? So markup languages originally invented to help us. So why the markup languages was invented? Any particular thing, as Nitin has said it in the first session itself, why this HTML, why this markup languages is, why these are basically, is it formatting of code? Are you doing alignments of your programming code? Is it writing compilers? Is it document typesetting? Is it classroom teaching?
I think document typesetting.
Yeah, because whenever you write documents, some particular data is bold letters I wanted. Some particular data, there is emphasized I wanted. So this kind of things you can see in your newspaper also, where you can see that bold headers and some kind of colors combination, all these are. So if that things you are emphasized, so they can understand, oh, this could be the important point. I have to take care of it. So some things they'll highlight. See, look at, even if you see your SIG dashboard, there is a logo. It says that which particular course content you're learning. And this is going to be little highlighted so that what course you are learning. These are different kind of sub menus or main menus. And here you can see that whatever the bold things will tell you what the particular assignment, whether it gives you that graded or ungraded, right? Yeah, this is a document setting. Correct. So now, which are the following examples of self-enclosing? Some elements or some tags are self-enclosing. Some of them are not self-enclosed. For example, B you are using should end with a B. Paragraph you started, paragraph you ended it. But some things, it need not be starting and ending. You not give it. Ending means we use it using some backward slash we are using, right? BR is a self-enclosing one. That is pretty sure. And rectangle also, you can create a rectangle. We don't have rectangle ending and rectangle, sorry, beginning and ending. That we can emphasize, you have a beginning and ending. What should be emphasized? That should be enclosed between emphasize starting and emphasize ending. Input element is a self-enclosed one because you are creating one button. That's it. We don't write beginning button and ending button. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so this is, as I said, the hierarchically, derived HTML history. If you can look at the top one is that SGML. As earlier I said it. Yeah, that's okay. So if it
So
is
latest is HTML5 now.
no, forget about it. First, let us hierarchically we want to talk about, right? First one is SGML, right? Is it right?
Yeah.
First one is SGML. So then after it, definitely XML, because just let me, I want to just write it. SGML which is a standard generalized markup language, which is pure metadata. I'm sure about metadata. Oh, actually, I'm not sure about this XML, but definitely XML also contains metadata only. This XML, because they did not talk about HTML4, HTML2, and all these are, I can say this XML can be also a markup language, which is metadata. And this XHTML, combination of HTML, of course, in between that XML and XHTML, there might be HTML different versions of that. XHTML up to here is okay. But why they have given this one, I don't know. This particular, they said about
This is a
early,
separate term, है ना?
yeah,
HTML.
not hierarchical relation. It is earliest to latest. Clear? Hello.
Yeah.
So in that case, I can say HTML5 is the latest, not hierarchically related, based on that inventions of sequence we have done it. So HTML,
B.
then C, then A, then B. Okay. So that right answer is B. Yeah, that's right. Now, so now the fourth one. Which of the following statements about that HTML is true? So HTML true statements. So I think they are talking about different versions of HTML. As I said, HTML4, HTML5, HTML5 is completely self-complaints one. So the fourth one is that HTML5 is completely backward compatible in order to older version. No, lot of elements or tags are deprecated from HTML4 to HTML5. Lot of new tags are introduced. So I cannot say that it is can accomplish that earlier tags. It has all tags present in the previous versions. No, most of the tags are deprecated. Yeah, HTML6, there is no official announcement, and as well as that beta versions also not there. So I cannot say that HTML6 is there. No, there is no official intimation. But this is sure, HTML5 is a self-complaints one. So it is not based on SCML, which is completely independent. Yeah, that's sure. Now, the fifth one is true about JavaScript. So again, the JavaScript basically it's a programming language. All these are they are trying to ask you that. Yeah, it can be a functional programming. Yeah, it is sure. See, functional programming is that we write user-defined components. Maybe it's like a functions and classes. You can write it, arrays, all these are, and you can execute them. Right? That's okay. Now, event driven, this one makes sense, right? Event driven means there will be different kind of user events are captured, like on click is there whenever user clicks on it, on blur is there, maybe some changes happened in a text box. These kind of user events can be handled as and when you click at that mouse button on a button, you can execute something. So I can do that one. Now, it can be used to write the games. Yes. On the web page, if you want to build the games, you can use the JS, no problem. You can write it. And now, it's a type of mission instruction set. No, it is simply high level language. I cannot say that it is, mission instruction set. That's pretty sure. Now the question is again the statements is given. JavaScript always requires a GUI browser? No. This is definitely no, because there is a text-based browsers are there. Text-based. For example, whenever you are trying to execute, uh, you know, HTML file, that HTML file requires a GUI web browser, but I don't have. For this, there is some text-based browsers out there. What's the text-based? Silo? Just a minute. Thank you. Oh, good. Yeah. So here it is. Mm. The first statement is definitely a wrong statement because always JavaScript doesn't require definitely a web browser of GUI. You can run it on any kind of text-based browser also. Whenever you run on the text-based browser, you get the outputs on the command line interface itself. You get it the simple rendered text instead of writing bold. If you put a bold, it doesn't uh, highlight that as a bold. Just simply it will print that a text. That's it, avoiding that B property. And the next one is actually core JavaScript means it doesn't make a sense, just a JavaScript. Core JavaScript provides a direct file access. That's definitely no. We cannot open any file in the C drive or D drive using JS. JS is meant for just execute the things on the web browser. It doesn't touch other parts of the computer. So I can say that both of them are incorrect. Now, the seventh one, which of the following is used by the JS to provide the user interaction? Yeah, it is user interaction is exclusively, it is event based, on click, on blur. Styles are there. You can change the inner styles of CSS. Whatever dynamic styles are there, you can change it. But events are meant for the user interaction. Mouse click, on drag, double click, that you can. On change, there is. So this is correct. Functional programming is okay, but this is functional programming requires, if you write a function, it requires explicit call. Explicit call is required. So this explicit call, it will be done it just directly calling a function name. But I want to call this function as and when a user has done it on click operation, on change operation. So this is called events. So events is exclusively the right answer, which is for user interaction, because user always interact with the web page. Yeah, eighth statement also, it is statement 1 and 2. Yeah, JavaScript is uh, only language that can be used for developing interactive web pages. No. So actually, before the JavaScript, there was a scripting language called, JScript. Remember, JScript is not the JavaScript. That is totally different. JavaScript, it contains a basic syntax of C and C++. But JScript has a basic syntax of Java. But actually, we say the JavaScript, maybe it looks like Java. No, the syntaxes, it looks like our C and C++. If it is JScript was there, but earlier, whenever early days of web pages, and there was a script called VB script was there, Visual Basic Script. That VB script also they are using for web pages. So that's the thing. We don't say that JavaScript is only a language, but now the JavaScript became that very popular since last 10 years because of various frameworks came to the JavaScript because of other frameworks. So there are compilers to convert several languages to forms of JS that can run on the existing web browser. That's true. See, actually, if you have any kind of CJS script or web script that you have written in C or C++, we want to convert into JS, yes, you can. There are different compilers out there. That what it will do is other language scripting can be converted into JS. Even you can see the type scripting. The type scripting is at the top of JS. So JSX is there. There is other kind of extension JavaScript. These things automatically convert your script into the JS. That is done by built-in compiler. Yeah, you can. Once it is converted into the JS, the browser can easily execute it. So I can say, uh, uh, you know, first statement is false, second statement is true. If that first statement is false, yeah, this is correct. Second statement is correct. First statement is incorrect. I think you got the point, right? Yeah, yeah, that's okay. I think, is it clear, this statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, yeah. Now, yeah, now it is again web component. As I said, web components is that different kind of isolated units or different kind of elements arranged on the web page. When creating web components, We want to keep the styles applied to the component separate from the rest of the page. Yes, because if you want to modify the particular part of the web page, only that particular part is modified. Remaining part it doesn't touch. That's done by the web components. Yes, this can be accomplished by the concept of virtual DOM. What you can say that here, no separation concession is not that. Yeah, shadow DOM. Here they are calling it shadow DOM. In other kind of frameworks, they call it the virtual DOM. So virtual DOM, it contains that modified components data is there. So actual component is there, virtual DOM is there. Virtual DOM is very simple kind of cart, a small kind of cart or cache. It contains that modified things only. Yes. Yeah. So the primary goal of introducing the web components is to promote the idea of yeah, that's already said. Reusability.
Sir,
As I mm,
virtual,
mm,
sir,
mm.
virtual DOM and shadow DOM are same thing.
Both are same. Some particular frameworks they call is virtual DOM. If that is a React, they call is shadow DOM, I think. If it is some Angular, they call is a virtual DOM. Both are same. Yeah. Only just like names are different, but it is a some part of modified components data is available. That is maintained by the shadow. Shadow DOM is faster, virtual DOM is faster than actual DOM. Yeah. Now, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, as I said, why do you use this component-based scripting is it is reusability. As I said, these are all the components I will reuse in other Seek dashboard of MAT2 in PDSC course. Only the data is changed. Rest of the things are same. As I said, component means HTML styles is there, data is there. I want to maintain same HTML styles, but data is different. If it is PDSA course, PDSA Seek dashboard is visible, but components are same. So that's the thing. Why do you use that component based is code reusability? That's the main advantage. It's not standardization. It's not HTML5. It is definitely the reusability of the. If a component button is created, I can reuse in other web pages, right? That's the advantage of it. Yeah. Now, already you came to that completely about the Flask. Flask is exclusively meant for the backend, and Flask is based on that your programming language of Flask. So it's a framework building of JavaScript applications. No. So framework building of Python-based web pages. Yes, that's it. It's a framework of designing web components. No, web components building cannot be done. It is exclusively meant for back-end controlling. Back-end controlling means database interaction, routing, APIs, all these can be done. It web components is done by the front-end frameworks, but front-end frameworks is not there. Front-end frameworks is different issue. So I can say Python framework is a Flask. The last one is there. Consider the following statements and choose the correct answer. Okay. Frameworks like React cannot be used to design static web pages. No, you can write a static web page using that React component, because HTML is a basic pipeline where you are rendering your web pages. That HTML tags you can put it into your React code, and the React code render it the HTML file. Yes, you can. Static page also you can write it, because that's a basic thing. Without static behaviors rendering, how it can goes to the dynamic rendering? It cannot. Yes, use of JS with frameworks like React violates the principles of essential. What's that? Okay, here I said it is cannot. No, it's a cannot. I said it's a can, so it's a false statement, right? Correct. Okay, because maybe I might be thought about going for true side, right? Yes. So use of JS with frameworks like React violates the principles of accessibility of essential of web page. No, same essentials are maintained. Essential means security, authentication. So if React is used, it doesn't mean that it can interact with the local files. No, it cannot open the local file. Only thing is it can build that customized component. So this statement also false. any framework. It doesn't violate that existing rules of Weber. So I can say both statements are incorrect. So I can say both statements are incorrect. Yes. Yeah, this is more theoretical week I have seen so far. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, mostly. This week is, as I said, 11th week and 12th week, mostly that's pure theoretical, right? I think
Yes, sir.
you got the
Sir,
point.
and
Hmm.
sir, in question number 11th, why all of
Yeah,
the above is not correct?
wait. Question number 11. Practice question number 11. Correct? This one, right?
Yes, sir.
See here, Flask. Is it a JavaScript language you are using?
No, sir.
So that definitely this is wrong,
Python
right?
language.
Okay. Python, because it's a Python standard language. Framework, it's a framework. It's a framework. It's not designing web component. Designing web component means bold, italic, all these we do with Flask. No, that's not the main purpose. The main purpose of Flask is for backend SQL models we are building, and database storing, database retrieving, and routes we are building, and as well as APS we are writing. That's the main purpose. And I can strongly believe that it's not the meant for even rendering of HTML files, because only for understanding we'll put our HTML files in templates folder and we'll render. But actually that's not the purpose. So Flask is exclusively meant for JSON data, database controlling, routes. That's the purpose of it. I think you got it right. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, I think it is because 11th and 12th weeks are mostly these kind of way it goes. I think we have one more week. Yeah, I think any clarification from your side, let me know that.
So, sir, should we
Mm.
start week 12 or wind up the session?
Yeah, maybe that next session, maybe the next Wednesday, maybe. I don't know when the next session is scheduled. It's Saturday, I think so. Just check your calendar, maybe. As per it, they will uh, deliver the lecture, right? Okay. Hello. Yeah, check your calendar. Is it okay? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we have one revision session also for end term, because maybe before that one, and as well as week 12 is there. I think these two they will check it in the calendar. Okay. Yeah, I think we can close the session. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
nice day. Okay, then have a nice day. Bye then.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you, sir.